So
Yeah,
what will, go ahead.
they're gonna start at 11:30, so if
Oh,
we
at
could,
11:30.
I mean, I'm sorry, 10:30,
So,
not 11:30. So if we could run through the other speakers real quick, that would be great.
Yeah, and for
okay.
everybody watching, this is Adrienne's and my first summit. And so we're super honored to be here. And we also appreciate your grace as we figure it out, because one of the things that both of us have learned through our own journeys is it doesn't have to be perfect. You just show up and you do it. And in doing it is where the beauty lies. So we're just so thankful for you guys to be on this ride with us.
Awesome. Thanks.
So Adrian, I think what we'll do is we'll pull up the agenda and we'll
Yeah,
go through those people.
the agenda is actually an old agenda. That's not the one that's got Jules on it and not Barb.
Okay,
So I can pull up and share my screen.
awesome, perfect.
That'll just take me a second. Everybody hang with
So
me.
yeah, so while everybody is waiting for the amazing Adrienne to pull up her screen, I just again want to thank you for being of service in the world, all of these speakers, because at the end of the day, it is us showing up in service to everybody who's here and out in the world that is truly changing not the face of addiction, but the changing the face of healing. And so I'm really, really grateful for all of you and the work you do.
Hey, I'll chime in, Adrian. I'll give you a little bit of time too. I'm just barely finishing. This is not a plug, but this whole work has been so fascinating to me in a different way. I'm just barely finishing 25 years of work on a book called Addicted to Me, and why it's so tricky to overcome being yourself. And a lot of times that includes substances and thought patterns and relationships and all kinds of toxic stuff. So I'm looking forward to going back over and looking through a lot of this stuff too, because I mean, heavens, I've got a lot to learn, even though I've learned a lot. It's exciting to have all these resources here. So yeah, thank you again.
Great. Thank you, Darren. So is everybody seeing my screen?
We are.
So the welcome and introductions. This is the first page, and then we have welcome and introductions. First on track 1 is Darren Brooks with Understanding Modern Addiction. 10:30, track 2 is Anita with the Root Causes of Addiction. Then we have Shay Sparks at 11 with the Societal Impact of Addiction. Barb Nangle with the Role of Trauma and Addiction Recovery. Then Rich with Recovery and Rehab After Treatment. Trisha with Innovative Treatment Approaches. Then we'll have the morning Q&A speaker panel. So I wanted to talk about that real quick. So on second thought, Heidi, we'll just run through the agenda and then do it like you said, because you actually know better than I do. So we've got the panel in the morning where you can ask the speakers that have spoken in the morning, you can ask them questions and interact. Then Carrie Lewis is going to do a keynote on guilt and shame in addiction. Then we have Jessica Pond at 1 o'clock with mental health and addiction. Sam at preventative education and health, also at 1 o'clock. Bob navigating family relationships at 1:30 on track 1. Then Coach Dave with mindset and motivation and addiction at 1:30 as well. Then our 2 o'clock track 1, we have spirituality and addiction recovery with Reverend Kathleen Gannon. I almost called you doctor. Dr. Reverend. Then we have Ken Dunn with recovery and self-care. Then we will have our second of the 2 Q&As with our afternoon panel. And I will talk about next steps and resources at 3 o'clock. And then at 3:30, we'll have some prizes and some closing sessions. I did want to say that there's an upgrade to VIP for anybody that's listening. I really didn't talk about this a lot, but some people have been asking me about recordings. So what we've done is we've created a promo code, early bird, all lowercase, all one word, that you can go back to Eventbrite, get a ticket, and go ahead and click the one that says $97. You're going to go through and check out, enter in that promo code, early bird, to get $50 off, making VIP $47. After the first speaker panel, it will be $97, but you will get access to all of the recordings, all of the gifts, all of the VIP gifts, which are really, really cool and valued at over $6,000. Really, these speakers, I just want to tell you guys, they have really stepped up to the plate. This was just, I'm just a girl from Delray Beach, you know, I started out with 25 and it got like 23, and I'm like, oh gosh, I think I might have to increase these tickets. And I just am, I'm so grateful to how this is falling together. All of the speakers are exactly who I wanted to be here, representing the changing face of addiction, because it's up to us to change the face of recovery.
Absolutely. And I just want to chime in, guys. The VIP money goes to being able to provide information, access, and services to people who are actually struggling with addiction. So putting on summits like this and then being able to offer, you know, pro bono work myself, that's what I do. So really your gift is not just helping yourself in all of the gifts that you receive, but also in helping people who are in need, who may not otherwise have the ability to access that help. So we thank you for showing up and considering, you know, pressing yes on VIP.
And one thing that I did forget to say on VIP, you will also get to jump the line. So for the Q&A, if you are a VIP, you get to your question answered first. You'll get to jump to the front of the line. And then we have some really, really cool prizes that we're going to give away, actual physical prizes that I will send to your physical address when we get to the end. But I think it's worth staying around for. Here's some of them right here. Just so you don't see too much of everything, you know, but we have some things and some stuff. I'm super excited. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I did go kind of a little crazy here and got some gifts that I really want to give you guys and their surrounding recovery. I want to make this fun. This is a serious topic. I really can't think of anything more serious right now. Well, the world is kind of crazy, but you know what I mean. This really is changing right in front of our eyes, and we are not coping well. So, I really want to thank you guys again for taking the time, for opening your mind to that addiction isn't just substances anymore, it's behaviors as well, and it just affects everybody from all walks of life and does not discriminate. So next I would like to do what? Heidi?
Yeah, Heidi, you're going to have to direct us here.
No worries. Why don't you give a little bit more information about Carrie and why you brought her alongside and what your background is? Introduce yourselves, your both of you as well.
Okay. Why don't we do that? Carrie, you want to, so I met Carrie through some networking groups and just connected with her on a heart frequency vibrational level from the go. And she's very passionate. She's very straightforward, to the point, like I am. I like people like that because we talked about this yesterday. You don't have to guess, you know. And she's a great recovery coach, and she's she's just a good human being and has so much knowledge to offer and share. That's why I brought her up. Go ahead, Carrie, and tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm super excited. So, guys, I have struggled with and worked on and absorbed knowledge around addiction and mental health my whole life. And having been essentially on my own since 14 and diving headfirst into addiction, I started to acquire knowledge to help me understand our brain and why it is I had these belief systems and why it is I needed to lean into external coping mechanisms to feel better that never seem to last. And so I've been studying this topic, mental health and addiction, since I was 14. That's 30 years, and I've been applying it to my life. And in that time, I have overcome a myriad of addictions, including to work. Despite not finishing high school, I happened to achieve the role of CEO in corporate America, proving to myself that, yeah, I can achieve anything I want, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna be happy. And so I really decided, once I quote unquote hit that pinnacle of success, I was going to apply all of the wisdom that I had absorbed in the 20-ish years that I had been reading and studying about the brain and the biology of belief and neuroscience, and really apply it to myself and break free from the trappings of societal expectations, conditions, habits, and beliefs. And in doing so, not only did I break free from the need of suffering, but I was applying the same principles I used to break myself free to my employees. And when COVID hit, I had a bird's eye view, because I was sober working in the cannabis space, to see just how well equipped people were at taking care of their mental, physical, and energetic health. And I felt morally compelled to leave the space and go into business for myself. I've been doing it ever since. I now have shows on the topic, and my passion truly is to hold space for people as they start to get curious about themselves and give themselves the permission that they need to start to live life on their own terms. And when you live life on your own terms, you don't need to lean into addictive behavior, because you love yourself unconditionally, despite the good opinions of everybody else. So, and I'm so honored to know you and call you a friend, Adrienne. So again, thank you so much for having me. And please tell us your story, because it's a pretty profound one.
Yeah, it's just a little crazy sometimes, but so I never imagined myself as a recovery advocate. That's not what I wanted to be when I grew up. I really didn't know too much about recovery. As a matter of fact, I moved to Delray Beach in 2005. I quickly found out that because I went to church, and one of the first people that I met was my husband, who said he was a recovered alcoholic, and I had no idea what he was talking about. I certainly had addiction and alcoholism in my family, but it was like the grandfather type, I had never heard the word recovered. So he started quoting me stuff from the big book, and I started telling him where it said that in the Bible. Now I'm like, yeah, Jesus said that. The guy's on the mat and the pool's stirring up and I can't get healed. Nobody's helping me. And Jesus is like, well, do you want to be well? Then take up your mat and walk. So I really jumped into this head first when I married my husband, Jim. And together we built the lodge at Delray Beach after a lifetime of being a chronic critical patient. I spent 30 years in, mostly in, sometimes out of doctor's offices, hospitals, ICU rooms, procedures, and blood draws. Not a fun time, but it definitely prepared me for the work that I'm doing now. So I'm really happy that you're all here. I can't wait to start. We're getting ready to start with Darren and Anita right